What's the story, Morning Glory? What is a word, Hummingbird? Well, the word is topics, and I have a lot of them today. And I'm going to try to go as fast as I can tonight. Keep you too long, but I have a lot to talk about. So let's start off with the controversial case of CarlishaHood. So CarlishaHood, she has been the talk for the past couple of days now. There's a video that has gone viral. A lot's been going on with Miss CarlishaHood. So let's see what we can dissect. So CarlishaHood is a mother living in the city of Chicago. There's this video that has gone completely viral where she is seen at a fast food restaurant, and there's this long line of people, and it seems like she's at the front of the line and she's arguing with a man who now we know his name is or was Jeremy Brown. So CarlishaHood and Jeremy Brown are engaged in this really heated argument at the front of the line. Don't know what they were arguing about. Don't know how the argument started. Don't even know if these two people even know each other. I'm assuming that they don't. So they're in this really heated argument. And the reason why I said that they don't know each other is because he referred to her as lady. He kept on saying, lady, take your food and go. Lady, take your food and go, or I'm going to punch you in the head. So he clearly threatens to assault her. They continue to argue, and then he pulls his fist back. He pulls it all the way back, and then he punches her so hard in the head that his locks, because he has these long locks, his locks literally fly back as that punch lands on Miss Hood's head. So she goes down, and he continues to assault her. Then all of a sudden, the camera pans over to like the front door, and we see a young boy there, a young teenage boy at the front door, and you see him kind of like fumbling around trying to look for something in the pockets of his hoodie. Next thing you know, you hear a pop and people start running. So according to the police, as the witnesses and also Carlisha's teenage boy, as they witness her being assaulted by Jeremy Brown, her son pulls out his protection and fires it, and it strikes Mr. Brown. Everybody starts running, including Mr. Brown. So Carlisha and her son run after him as the boy is continuing to shoot him, and he ends up falling and he never gets back up. So after that, CarlishaHood and her son, I guess there were arrest warrants issued for them. Carlisha and her son both turned themselves in. They were held on a $3 million bond. They were charged. Both of them were charged with first-degree murder. She was also charged with contributing to the delinquency of a minor. $3 million bond. I guess he's sitting in juvenile. She's sitting in jail. All of a sudden, the prosecutor, after viewing the video, because they were charged with murder before the prosecutor's office even saw the tape that went viral. So after they viewed the video, they decided that they were going to drop all charges, the murder charges, and also the contributing to the delinquency of a minor charge. And then her and her son are now free. So what she's doing now, she's hired a team of attorneys, and they're going after the city of Chicago, including the 5 officers that I guess arrived at the scene. She's going to be suing them, or she has filed a lawsuit against the city of Chicago and the 5 officers for having her and her son falsely arrested, malicious prosecution, and of course emotional distress on behalf of herself and her son. There has been so much being talked about this. What I first heard was that as she was arguing with Mr. Brown, she was texting her son to come into the restaurant because this guy was bothering her. So the son shows up, and he's kind of like observing what's going on. And then when he sees the man assault his mother, that's when he does what he does. Then there were reports that the son was always there witnessing, that he was standing at the front door the whole entire time when he had witnessed his mother being assaulted. Now, the reason why this might make a difference is because it's kind of like, if the mother is involved in a confrontation with somebody and it's getting heated and it's escalating, why would she want to bring her child into this if he was not already there witnessing it? But if he was already there witnessing the argument, which escalated to an assault, then it makes sense how he kind of just, initially reacted to protect his mother. And it makes a lot of sense. So I don't know which way it went, but it seems like most people are leaning towards the fact that the boy was already there when he saw the argument, which became an assault, and then he did what he did to protect his mom. Then there's the question of where, I mean, like, how did this child, you know, why is he even handling this weapon? Like, what's going on here that he is just, you know, going around carrying this weapon? Did he go to the car and get it? Is it because his mom was texting him? Maybe he was sitting in the car and his mom was texting him, hey, this guy's bothering me, you know, get what you got to get and come and help me, which I feel like would be absolutely wrong, because as a mother, you don't want to bring your child into, you know, a dangerous situation. So that question, right? But it doesn't even matter, because the prosecution decided to drop all charges. They saw what they saw, including whatever additional evidence that they examined, and they determined that they were not going to proceed with any murder charges against Carlisha and her son. Then on the other side, you know, people have also portrayed Mr. Hood like, okay, he lost his temper. He lost control of himself, but he was also a father. He had two, I think he had at least two young daughters, or at least one little girl, one or two, I'm not sure. I don't know if he had more, but there are pictures of him online posing with his two children. You know, the fact that these two children now have no father. And regardless of what happens, Carlisha's son is going to have to live with the fact that he took someone's life, even though it was he did, you know, to protect his mom. And he's been hailed as a hero by many people. Nicki Minaj has even set aside money for Carlisha Hood's son to go to college. Like, she set away a college fund for this young boy, and it's just like, it's amazing all of the support that has come out for this child, which is heavily needed. Whatever's going on with Carlisha, whatever went on with Jeremy Brown, okay, it is what it is. But I think we should kind of focus on the protection of the young man, and make sure that he is mentally and emotionally okay. So the fact that Nicki Minaj has come out to put money aside for him to go to college with, you know, that was very commendable. No matter what you think or what you believe or whose side you're on, like I said, it's all about this child who was trying to protect. And what a burden it must be for this young man to feel like he had to do this to protect his mother. And what kind of a society is this, where a man feels it's okay to punch a woman in the face in front of a whole bunch of witnesses? Like, this is crazy to me. This is absolutely unbelievable that he felt so comfortable to argue with this woman, threaten her, and then assault her, like physically assault her in front of all these people. For him to feel comfortable, like, what is going on with society? I'm not even going to get into the fact that out of all the people, the categories of people, you know, there's this talk that the black woman is the least protected, even the least protected by the black man. And the fact that he felt comfortable to punch her, that's just, I don't even know what to say. It's just beyond words. So the only thing that I can say about that story is that, you know, my heart goes out to that young man, and I hope that he's not going through or suffering through any type of distress or whatever that's going to affect him for the rest of his life, that, you know, he took someone's life even though it was, you know, to protect his mother. Moving on from there, this is another very difficult story to talk about. In New York, in the state of New York, there's a man by the name of Patrick Prophet. I can't pronounce it because it's spelled really funky. So I think his name is Patrick Prophet or Profright. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. 26 years old. Well, he is in a whole bunch of trouble. He was arrested because he had shot a crossbow at his wife, who was holding their 3-week-old baby. So the crossbow bolt, they don't call it an arrow, they call it a bolt. The crossbow bolt struck the baby, the 3-week-old infant being held by its mother, struck the baby and also struck the mother as well. It exited the baby and it entered the mother. This man, who was the husband of the mother and father of the baby, had the audacity to pull the bolt out of the mother and to prevent her from calling 911. Luckily, 911 was called and this man fled the scene. He flees the scene. He goes into the woods. He drives his truck into the woods, and his truck ends up getting stuck in mud. And eventually they find him less than a mile from the scene of the crime. I read this story and it just blew my mind that he would have the audacity, the nerve to aim anything at someone who is holding his baby. So now his baby has passed away. The mother is in the hospital. And a week before this incident, he had actually posted on Facebook that his style is to protect his family at all cost. Protect them from what? You? Like, what are you talking about? Like, what is going on? On top of everything else, so he was charged with murder. I think he was also charged with attempted murder. And he was also charged with criminal contempt. And the criminal contempt stems from the order of protection that was put against him to keep him away from his wife. Her name is Megan Carey, 31 years old. He violated the order of protection. I told you what happened. And I'm just like amazed that people have the audacity to do this to anybody, let alone women, mothers, your wife, the mother of your baby. It's just, I don't know what to say. I don't know where this society is headed. I have no clue. Moving on from there, we are going to talk about Miss SharonStone. So let's lighten up the mood and get into a little bit of celebrity news. SharonStone. The reason why I'm talking about SharonStone is because I came across an article that really reminded me of Jamie Foxx. So SharonStone, she starred in Basic Instinct, Casino, Total Recall, Silver, The Quick and the Dead, etc. Huge mega movie star back in the 90s. Well, around 2001, she suffered something similar to a stroke or an aneurysm. And when this happened to her, she wanted to keep everything hush hush. She didn't want anybody to know, very similar to what's been happening with Jamie Foxx. And the reason is because she didn't want to lose out on upcoming projects. But she decided to go public with it for whatever reason, maybe to bring awareness to what happened to her. She decided to go public with it. And according to SharonStone, as soon as she did that, her career was over. So she says it took 7 years to recover from her medical incident. And she says that she was treated unkind in the industry, especially by other women and also by a judge who was handling her custody case. So because of what she had suffered, I think custody was given to her ex-husband of the child that they had adopted together. So she says that her career, her finances all came crashing down after she became this mega superstar from, Basic Instinct, Total Recall, etc. And this just really reminds me of Jamie Foxx, the fact that, they don't really want to say exactly what happened, probably to protect his future projects. But I don't even know what to say. I mean, because his medical condition, it's his business. It's, if he doesn't want to talk about it, he doesn't want people to know about it, that's his prerogative. But it is kind of curious as far as like, everything is so hush hush. Everything is so secretive. And I think what started it all was the fact that his daughter would give bits and pieces of information and saying that, oh, everything is fine. My father is fine. We're all doing okay. We'll see you soon. And people were like, okay, so where is he? What's going on? How come we haven't heard from him yet? If everything is fine, why haven't we heard from him? The daughter said he was playing pickleball or something. We have yet to see Jamie Foxx. And of course, he suffered his medical condition while he was filming a movie with Cameron Diaz. He pulled her out of retirement to do this movie with him. And it's just really tragic how things have happened. Everybody, all of these actors, except for Mike Tyson, because Mike Tyson said he suffered a stroke and that he's incapacitated. But all these other actors are coming out saying how, Jamie Foxx is fine. He's doing great. He's recovering so well. And I don't know what to say. People, he has some really diehard fans, people who are very, very concerned about him. I've seen people on TikTok like in tears talking about Jamie Foxx because they're such, they're so fanatical about him. And the fact that he hasn't made an appearance just makes me think that you know, things might not be as they seem. Of course, we want him, you know, we wish him a very, very, very speedy recovery. And, but all we can do is pray. Moving on from there, we have IdrisElba. So when news first came out, and this was like a couple of years ago, rumors began to circulate that IdrisElba may be considered as the new James Bond. I was super excited. I was super duper excited because I'm thinking to myself, what better person to play James Bond than IdrisElba? He is British. He is smooth. He is good looking. This is like the perfect match. Well, now we are 2023. We really haven't heard much about it. And I was getting concerned. I was like, is he no longer considered for James Bond? Like, what's going on? Well, IdrisElba himself has taken himself out of the running for James Bond. He said that he does not want to be considered anymore for that role because of the racist backlash that he's been receiving. Now, James Bond is an international character, an international figure, not just an American or not just a UK figure. He is known worldwide, right? And so IdrisElba says that he has received a lot of racist backlash from different parts of the world. He says the majority of the world has been very supportive, but there are pockets of the world that have not been supportive. And he claims, he says, you know, but I'm not going to mention, you know, what those pockets are, like where those pockets are located. I'm wondering if he's referring to the US, because in the US we're very race obsessed. We see the controversy that started with The Little Mermaid being played by a black actress. What's her name? Halle Bailey. So I don't know if he was referring to the US or what he was referring to, but he says he doesn't want it. He doesn't want to go through the stress of all of that. He doesn't want to be caught up in some race relation nonsense regarding a movie character that's not even real because James Bond is fictional. He didn't got time for none of that. And he also said that he will no longer refer to himself as a black actor. He just wants to be referred as an actor. He says by saying black actor, it's sort of like putting him in a box, and he doesn't want that. He just wants to be seen as an actor. He says you wouldn't call yourself a black architect or a black doctor or a black secretary. You just call yourself an architect, a doctor, a secretary, a nurse, a teacher, whatever. So he wants the same for himself. That kind of does make sense to me, but he did receive backlash for that, as if he was implying he didn't want to, like he has something wrong. He felt like he didn't want to be referred to as black, or he didn't like being black, or he was trying to make it seem as if because if I'm considered a black actor, then it's going to be seen in a negative way and I'm going to miss out on roles or whatever. He's like, I'm not saying none of that. He goes, I'm very proud to be black. I'm very proud of my race, my ethnicity, where I came from, my culture, etc. But I just want to just be considered an actor for all intents and purposes. Moving on from that, let's talk about the royal family. So I don't really dig too deep into the royal family. I know there's a ton of people out there who do some serious deep dives into the royal family. I'm just very surface about it. I know who the players are. Of course, you know, I thought Princess Di was just the end all and be all of, you know, royalty during and after the royal family. And of course, when she passed away, it was extremely devastating. I felt that. I really, that's one of those celebrity deaths that, you know, I never quite got over. So I know the key players. I know you have Charles, you have Diana, you have their two children, you have Camilla, you have Kate, and you have Meghan. And then you have the Queen who passed away recently. So I know the main players. So Prince Harry, I don't even know if he's still referred to as a prince. I don't think so, right? So Harry wrote his memoir. His memoir was released and it was called Spare. And in this book, he referred to his stepmother, Camilla, as an evil stepmother. Well, when Camilla heard about that, of course, she got in her feelings, and it even bothered Harry's father, King Charles, because he's so protective of Camilla. Now, let's talk about that for just a quick second. I was extremely young when then Prince Charles and Princess Diana got married. I remember my mother staying up because it was like in the middle of the night here in the United States while the wedding was happening in England. I remember my mom staying up all night to watch the royal wedding. And so I do remember the whole controversy with their marriage and how, you know, Princess Diana always seemed really, really unhappy while she was married to him. And then, you know, the controversy of them divorcing and him marrying Camilla, and how my heart broke when he married Camilla. I didn't have any issues with Prince Charles until he married Camilla. Just something about her didn't sit right with my spirit. Like, how can you give up Princess Anyways, moving on. So they say that Camilla has become completely intolerable after she became queen. So she's taken this role of queen very, very seriously. They said that even Kate Middleton is disgusted by Camilla's behavior, how she is just, you know, bulldozing herself around because she's the Queen of England. There's a specific title for her. It's not necessarily the Queen of England. It's something else. It's not the Queen elect. Or the queen. There's some title where she's queen, but not like queen. So even Kate Middleton, who I thought Kate Middleton was, I don't know why I thought this, because I don't really pay attention, but I just assumed that Kate Middleton and Camilla were united in both of their dislike for Meghan Markle. But even Kate Middleton has an issue with her. Like, she's absolutely disgusted by Queen Camilla's behavior ever since she became queen, and how she's just, you know, making all these demands, and she's just, you know, really like, you know, her nose up in the air as if she was, I don't know what. But yeah, I was surprised to hear about that. And I don't know why King Charles doesn't see Camilla for what she is. I wonder what it is about Camilla that has gotten this man so enamored. But he's been enamored for her for years, and he is and always will be very protective of Camilla, I guess even to the detriment of his relationship with his son, Prince Harry. And we are moving right along. Let's talk about some really frivolous celebrity news. Wheel of Fortune. So Wheel of Fortune, which has been a staple in American television for eons, the beloved host Pat Sajak is stepping down. He's 76 years old. It is time for him to retire. So he's going to be stepping down, and it was like, you know, everybody was on pins and needles as far as who was going to take his place. The name Ryan Seacrest kept on being bounced around. Whoopi Goldberg threw her name in the ring as well. She really wanted that spot, but it went to, of course, Ryan Seacrest. Now, with Pat Sajak out and Ryan Seacrest in, what happens to Vanna? I didn't even know this was a topic of conversation. I'm like, what do you mean what happens to Vanna? Vanna stays, you know, touching the letters. Speaking of the letters on Wheel of Fortune, there was a time when she had to physically turn the letters around, right? And then somewhere like I think in the 90s, the letters would just light up by themselves. The tiles didn't have to be turned around. And I always wondered, why is Vanna needed if the letters light up on their own? Because when they do the fast round, where they have to like hurry up and give the answers, and all of a sudden, you know, it will just light up with whatever the answer is. So why is Vanna needed? But I guess she's like a staple to that show. People are very serious about their Wheel of Fortune, and they do not want Vanna gone. Okay. So because Vanna knows how popular she is, how loved she is, and how diehard Wheel of Fortune fans will not tolerate a game show without Vanna, Vanna thinks that she is in the perfect position to negotiate a higher salary. Pat Sajak was earning $15 million per season, while Vanna White was only earning $3 million per season. But Vanna White, sweetheart, you were just tapping letters. $3 million per season. So she feels like she's in the perfect position now to negotiate more money. The studio or producers, executives, whoever they are who are in charge of all of this, some of them are saying, you know what, we really don't need a Vanna, or we need to replace Vanna with somebody younger because we're getting a younger host. We should also have a younger tile toucher, because you don't even turn those things around. And then there's the other executives are like, what are you talking about? We will never get rid of Vanna White, because Vanna White is what makes Wheel of Fortune Wheel of Fortune. So she is a staple. Let's give her whatever she wants, however much money she wants. Let's give it to her, because we don't want the backlash of the most faithful wheel watchers. And I also had heard a rumor also that Pat Sajak wanted his daughter to take over Vanna's spot, but I don't know. So we'll see how that goes. I have a very strong inclination that Vanna is going to be staying. Also, I didn't make notes about this, but I just kind of wanted to mention it real quick. I wanted to talk about Jonathan Majors. So Jonathan Majors went to court recently, basically just to officially, I don't know what he was it to enter a plea? I think he pleaded not guilty. I don't know. And then they set the trial for later on in the year. And he appeared with Megan Good, who is his current girlfriend. So everybody's been saying how the reason why Megan Good and Jonathan Majors are together is to improve Jonathan Majors' image, because he was really heavily involved with white women, and evidently it was a white woman that nearly ruined his career. Now he's trying to improve his image and I guess garner some support or whatever from black people, because it seems like, you know, white people, a lot of them have completely, they're done with him. So he's trying to get whatever support he can get from whoever's left, I guess, which is, you know, the black people. And so in order to look good for the black people, he got himself a black girlfriend, Megan Good, who's recently divorced. So I don't know if I believe that, or I don't know what's going on. I don't know if that's true or not. It sounds horrible. If it is true, it sounds horrible. But they say that Megan Good, she knows the what's up. She knows exactly what's going on. She knows what her role is. She's not naive. She knows what she's therefore is to improve this man's image and get whatever benefits that she can get out of it, which is exposure, which might help her career, and whatever money and gifts he's showering on her to keep her around. It just sounds so bad. Like this is not even a real relationship. The same thing they said happened to Michael B. Jordan. You know, he was really heavy into the white women, and supposedly this was ruining his career or affecting his career because he was losing the support of black people. And so in order to garner support from black people, he stopped dating the white women and he got with Laura Harvey, Steve Harvey's stepdaughter. And that was supposed to improve his image, to show that he wasn't turning his back on his culture or on his people. And it did what it did. I guess it improved it. I have no idea. And after him and Laura Harvey broke up, he went right back to, you know, what he prefers, what he's attracted to, which is fine, white women. So I hope that's not the case with Jonathan Majors. He's with Megan Good just, you know, for appearances and just to garner brownie points from the public. I really hope that that's not what it is. But here we are. So now it has come out that his lawyer has said that she's got very strong evidence to show that Miss Jabari, which was, you know, Jonathan Majors' girlfriend at the time when he was arrested, his ex-girlfriend now, that Miss Jabari, I forgot what her first name is, that Miss Jabari was actually the aggressor. And Jonathan Majors was the true victim because he even called the police. Well, he didn't call the police on himself. He called the police because he wanted this woman out of his apartment, out of his residence. But anyways, so his lawyer is saying we have evidence to show that she was the one that attacked him initially. She grabbed the phone from him. She stole the phone from him because she wanted to see if he was talking to other women. She was the one that was scratching him and hitting him, and she put her hands on him first. He suffered injuries from that. You know, he suffered pain, he suffered bleeding, and his lawyer says that the taxi cab driver will attest to this, will testify to this in court, because the taxi driver had witnessed all of this, had witnessed Ms. Jabari being the aggressor, initiating all of the violence against Jonathan Majors, and Jonathan Majors was defending himself. So most likely it seems like things are getting kind of murky now as far as exactly what happened and who was the true aggressor and who was the true victim. And he might get off on this, right? He might get off on this. Charges may be reduced, severely reduced, or possibly even dropped. But the question is, what happens to his career? If these charges are dropped and it comes out that he was not the aggressor, does he still have his career? Or was all of this for nothing? And if the charges are dropped and he loses his career and he can't get back to the momentum that he was at initially, it's going to really suck. It's going to really, really, really suck for him that he went through all of this when he was probably the true victim, and he lost his career. He lost all of this potential income. And at the end of the day, he was actually the victim. And I don't know, like, what does a person do when something like that happens? I don't know. I'm not saying that he is the victim. I'm not saying that he's not the victim. I don't know. I think through the court case, we'll get more information on exactly what's what, if it even gets that far. If the prosecution decides to drop the charges, then it's going to probably be because, more likely than not, he was the true victim. Now, a little bit of sad news. Rest in peace to Julian Sands. So Julian Sands was a well-known British actor. He had gone missing in January of this year, 2023. He was out hiking. In Southern California, on Mount Baldy, and all of a sudden he disappeared. Nobody heard from him, and he was missing for 5 whole months. And so recently, a group of hikers found a body or some remains, and through testing or whatever, it came out and it was confirmed that the remains belonged to Julian Sands. So rest in peace to him. He was known for starring in Room with the View. I've heard of that movie. And The Killing Fields. I've heard of that movie as well. 65 years old. I think he was married. He had 3 children. And it's just really sad. So he was out there hiking on this mountain, and I don't know if it was the elements, because they said that around the time that he went missing, it was there was like really bad storms, or very severe weather during that time. And so I don't know, like, it's just really sad. If he ended up succumbing to the elements, that's truly heartbreaking. But the investigation is still ongoing. It's still open as far as what was the manner of death. Then there's another rest in peace for a football player by the name of Ryan Mallett, 35 years old. So he's a former NFL player. He played for the New England Patriots. He played for the New England Patriots as a backup to Tom Brady. So he was a teammate of Tom Brady. He also played for the Houston Texans, and I think he played alongside J.J. Watts. I'm not sure. He also played for the Baltimore Ravens. Unfortunately, he recently drowned on vacation with his girlfriend, Madison Carter, in Destin, Florida. He didn't drown with Madison Carter. He was in a relationship with Madison Carter. They had just recently made their relationship Facebook official on June 1st, and now he has passed away at the age of 35. What happened was he was in the water, he was in the ocean, and he got caught up in a riptide. And yeah, and he lost his life by drowning. So rest in peace to him. And I think I've covered all my topics. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.